What is this? Fallout 76 is not that bad. That sounds like fucking cope. I remember launch day and it was fucking awful. My brother played Fallout 76 at launch and he thought it was disgusting. I'm pretty sure he refunded it.
So Fallout, recently, it's been everywhere, especially since the airing of Season 1 and 2 of the Fallout TV show. You know, the show that the hardcore fans can't decide if they like or hate it, from the depiction of the Brotherhood of...
I think it's mid. I think it has its moments where it's like really cool, but then there's other moments where I'm like, man, that was not good. Some of the character writing is just sucky as fuck, and the costume design is like...
Steel to the Legion. Personally, I did not expect Macaulay Culkin.
What? What is a Macaulay Culkin in the Caesar's Legion? Hail Kaiser! What?
The Home Alone kid to be a part of the Legion. Said,
bro, that's actually funny. Wait, that's really funny. Okay, maybe this show gets a pass.
He comes off as more of a vault dweller, to be honest. There were some timeline issues, incest being mentioned like almost every episode.
And that's not including all of the cousin stuff I did, which is at least a page or two on my resume, so...
Haha, incest, sex jokes. By the way, that sex scene in the first season, it was so uncomfortable for me. Maybe I'm a little bit tizzed out, but like, I thought that was so cringe. I don't know, maybe I'm tizzed out, but I did not find that funny, and it made me kind of uncomfy.
Looks like...
Which ending of Fallout New Vegas was used for Season 2 not being clear, with most thinking it was the Yes Man ending, but somehow found issues with that if that is indeed the ending they went with. There was barely any mention of the career at all, or their involvement, and overall hardcore fans just thought it was a phlegm-filled spit on the franchise and Fallout New Vegas in general, with some even speculating Toddy Boy himself had something to do with it because he apparently was always jealous that the Obsidian studio, instead of the Bethesda studio, was responsible for one of the best games in the series with its...
I could see that. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that is actually might be true. Still malding over New Vegas? It's sad because as a Fallout fan, and I am like a Fallout fan, I'm not a fucking tourist. I really liked Fallout 3, but I love Fallout New Vegas so much more. I think Fallout 3 has like a soft spot in my heart because it was like one of the first PC games that I played by myself without my brother and stuff. And he bought it for himself, but he let me play it, and I thought it was awesome. But I think New Vegas is like a tier above. It's like so much better.
Story, choices, and overall player experience. But yeah, Todd was apparently so jealous he took the reins for directing the story in Season 2 and somehow ruined the legacy of New Vegas. Well, that's what some are theorizing. I didn't think it was that bad. I did soy face and point at the screen with the one reference with the NCR Ranger shooting the Deathclaw, and I especially liked the scene where House is reactivated, especially with the...
Chuji, did you just barge open in the middle of React? And now you're gonna turn around and leave. You can't even shut the door behind you. My dog just walked in, nosed the door open, and then just left the door open.
The music. But yeah, in my opinion, the show wasn't that bad. We could have gotten worse. We could have got the erectile dysfunction that was the Halo TV series. Or even...
Yeah, unmasking the fucking Halo guy, bro. Master fucking Doom Chief, whatever the fuck, man. Oh my god. Why? Like, the whole point is that people could immerse themselves as Master Chief, bro. I'm so sad. Like, Master Chiefs deserved better than this.
Or even worse, the bastardization that was the Borderlands movie.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. What is this casting?
But the show opened the Fallout franchise and universe to a lot of new people, which even included some of the actors of the show who innocently enough just wanted to try the source material, but were evidently led astray by the loyal fan base.
Read you loud and clear. Go to the quarry junction for the loots. Wait, that's so cute. Okay, I will say I don't really like her acting that much, but I will say I appreciate her cute little, like, I don't know, her posts.
And yeah, that was a complete hoax, by the way. This was a fake account.
No!
And everybody fell for it.
I fell for it. No.
But yeah, a lot of people were introduced to the Fallout games from the show, mainly Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4 and 3. But unfortunately, nobody is touching my favourite Fallout, and in my opinion the best one, and is a direct RimWorld compare, Fallout Shelter.
Are you sponsored? Dude, I played this for like a day and I was like, damn, this shit sucks.
Don't worry, just to clarify, that was a joke. I already know some of you... You have started writing a whole research paper.
I literally was about to be like, you fucking idiot, what do you mean?
A lot of people were introduced to the Fallout games from the show, mainly Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4 and 3. But unfortunately, nobody is touching my favourite Fallout, and in my opinion the best one, and is a direct RimWorld compare, Fallout Shelter. Don't worry, just to clarify, that was a joke. I already know some of you have started writing a whole research paper with multiple slurs in the comments just from that sentence alone. But there is also a more infamous game some have picked up, mainly because it's one of the latest additions to the franchise, no matter how much Fallout fans want to ignore it ever existed. And this game was indirectly...
Why her ears broken? I'm going to lose my fucking mind. They're not broken! I'm just drooping today, okay? Leave me alone!
Responsible for a rise in country music, specifically the resurgence of the song Country Roads, and that was Fallout 76, the game that is viewed as one of the worst Fallout games, behind Fallout Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout Tactics, although some may argue even those are better.
No,
it's also viewed as one
because it was before before Bethesda bought the rights to Fallout. I believe,
Bethesda's biggest fumbles, which would have been accurate a few years ago if Starfield didn't exist.
True. What is that?
I think the only people still playing Starfield are the people that fully modded it to be like the Star Wars universe, and it is actually impressive and probably the only way you can get people to play Starfield nowadays.
Yeah.
But Fallout 76, a game that had one of the worst launches in gaming history, and that is saying something since most Bethesda games are usually buggy.
I had a friend that pay to win swiped. He was a fucking whale. I only knew him from WoW. He fucking swiped the ever-loving shit out of Fallout 76 and was like, this game's great. And I was like, yeah, because you're fucking swiping. Yeah, of course it's fucking great because you're literally caving into their fucking business model.
Launch, I think even the Aztecs could have predicted that this would have had problems with Bethesda's history. However, Fallout 76 was apparently an exception to this expectation, because even before the launch it was viewed as a complete disaster with a beta that was riddled with glitches and was said to be very
Isn't there like a video out there that records like every single bug in Fallout 76 and it's like 3 hours long? Yeah.
Boring. There was even a bug with the beta where if you downloaded it and tried to launch it, it would just delete itself, and some couldn't even uninstall the beta if they wanted to. On top
it's a virus, it's malware!
Of having one of the biggest lies in pre-order bundle history, including a bag that was claimed to be made of the highest canvas material, but when it finally did arrive after multiple setbacks and excuses, it looked nothing like what was advertised, and you could probably get something better from Temu at the cost of your personal information being sold. In fact, probably the best pre-order bundle you could get was one of the cheapest, and was the one I went with, where you get a bunch of pins of the special stats and Vault Boy. And yes, I did step on at least one of the pins, and they did break quite easily. An authentic Nuka-Cola beverage was promised called Nuka-Cola Dark with a price tag of $80, which was poorly made.
$80 in 2015 or 2016, by the way, chat. That's more like $100 to $120 now.
And apparently tasted worse than the garbage juice at the bottom of a public bin.
Ew.
Oh, God, can I swear on this? It's my own show. That's terrible.
This tastes like we're drinking vanilla extract.
A licensed
Oh.
helmet sold
I did
primarily
that
at
when I was a
GameStop
kid
but made
once.
by a
That was
separate
awful.
manufacturer to the collector's
I
edition
accidentally
one
drank
had to be
vanilla
recalled
extract,
because
like
it
with
was
the alcohol in
susceptible
it.
to mold growth. And not to mention
thought it
all
would
the
taste
claims
good.
Todd made leading up to the release, like
was like
16
8.
times the detail and revolutionary graphics, which was ironic because the game launched with buggy
16
graphics and a
times
large
the
amount of
detail,
performance
chat.
issues, and led to a resurgence in his signature catchphrase, "It just works."
It just works.
All of this just works.
It just
But yeah, a
works.
lot of this was even before the game launched, and
Yep.
when it did launch, it got worse. Servers were broken, quests were glitched, which was the
Yeah.
least impactful out of the laundry list of bugs present, and the world was completely void of any human
There were people, including the person I was talking about at the start of the video. There was a glitch where you could glitch into the like GM Island, kind of, so to speak, where the devs put a bunch of items down into a chest, and you could like glitch into it and steal shit out of the chest. And they never really did anything with it either. Yeah, the dev room. Yeah, it was just like some hole somewhere. Yeah.
NPCs, where the main quest was this boring slog of following dead people's audio tapes to
Yeah,
find a
super
cure for
boring.
dragon cancer or something. And that is the checklist of what mostly happened in the Internet Historian's video on Fallout 76
Yep.
that everyone saw. The game was terrible at launch, to say the least, and despite going through multiple updates, fixes to the game, and a treasure trove of content being added, the game, at least from the outside, is still known for the reputation it launched with. A buggy, glitchy, hacker-infested, and domestic dispute-filled game.
What's going on right here? I don't give a fuck. I'll play Fallout if I want to tonight.
What?
Fuck you. I'll fucking put the dog down just like I did the other one. Yeah, fuck
Wait
you.
a
Go see your
minute.
coworker. Yeah.
Wait a
bitch.
minute, what?
I took your wedding ring off last night.
This is a reputation that is forever echoed just by mentioning the
No
game,
way.
despite the game, as said, going through multiple updates, to the point where it's nothing like what it used to be, yet still has said reputation.
Yeah, but it's still really like, I don't know, microtransaction heavy. Extremely microtransaction heavy. I think even with like, oh, it's a decent game, but it's like you have to invest a lot of money into it to start, which really sucks. I don't know. I tried to play it one time and I was like, I can't do this. It's just not very good.
Which, yeah, you could
Granted, it
fairly
was, like, a
chalk
couple
up
of
to a
years
side
ago.
effect of a terrible first impression, but then you look at games like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Do not attempt to abbreviate the name of that last game.
Yeah,
Both
don't
of
do
these
that.
games promised things that were not delivered. They had a terrible release, but with further updates they managed to do a full about 10 with their reputation, to the point where they are now beloved games. Hell, No Man's Sky is face-fucking their fans with content updates to the point where their gluttony knows no bounds,
And
they're
it's
doing it all for
free!
free. And Cyberpunk is now considered a masterpiece when it was previously described as being
It was
synonymous with
awful.
dog feces. Some would have even claimed at the time the Lord of the Rings Gollum game was better. But why has Fallout 76 not seen the same change in its reputation, and does it still deserve said reputation?
And I've got to say, in all honesty,
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
So upon
I've heard that
76's
so many
launch, as I've
times.
reiterated about 20 times already throughout this video, people were disappointed and felt like they were lied to. It was an absolute mess, even for Bethesda standards.
It's why it's so important to just not, like, listen to fucking investors and don't launch a game that you're not happy with. Yeah, even, like, again, and I do praise No Man's Sky for this a lot, and I do take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, but people still think No Man's Sky is a bad game. Even with all the improvements, because that first impression you had 10 years ago, it's like, you know, it's just not good. Sorry, I'm not gonna try it again. I don't care what other people say, probably waste of time.
There
Or
was
they
a
don't
day
know
one
about it.
patch which was over 50 gigabytes and was apparently bigger than the game itself, and
Wow.
it did fix a lot of issues with the game, like performance issues and game-breaking bugs, but said update also created more performance issues and game-breaking bugs.
Well, that's what happens when you use the fucking... That's what happens when you use that dumb, stupid engine that's like 20 years old now.
But hey, at least the only thing that did work was the Atomic Shop, The things selling
Yeah, the thing that
cosmetic
matters,
items
of
ripped
course.
from previous games for extortionate prices. A
Yep.
lot of people attempted to refund the game day one, but because the game wasn't on the Steam platform, and instead was on Bethesda's own platform, leading to a lot of refund requests being stalled or outright refused for weird reasons. Like apparently in one case, if you installed the game, you are immediately illegible for a refund, but with public
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? I gotta try it first.
backlash, potentially a class action lawsuit, and the Australian ACC eventually getting involved, probably because a majority of their population in the outback that waited a whole month after the release for their download to finally finish, only to then find out the game was complete dog shit.
Aw,
What?
bummer.
You fucking serious?
You
They did
fucking
eventually start rolling
serious,
out
mate?
refunds
It's
for things
fucking
like digital
bullshit,
copies.
innit?
Physical copies was
Sorry,
a
wrong
whole
accent.
different story. Over the next few months since release, Bethesda began rolling out hotfixes and patches to attempt to make the game somewhat stable,
is
but all
already
of that
done,
effort
bro.
would be in vain. A majority of people around this time had already given up on the game and chalked it up as a complete failure. The
I
game
mean, if a restaurant launches and it serves dog shit, do you really blame them? I hate that we have like a different standard for video games, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I find that kind of dumb. Like, if a restaurant fails, nobody bats an eye because they serve dog shit on a plate and the service is terrible or whatever the fuck. But for a game to launch, it's like, no, you have to give it a chance. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro.
was essentially a ghost town, and if you were
You're a
still
customer,
playing,
you
you had to
paid
cope with
money to
hackers,
play
people
it.
exploiting the many bugs of the game, and even Bethesda moderation themselves, where they were banning legitimate players in one
Yeah, that's actually funny. There was an exploit of like duping, and this one guy got banned even though he didn't do the dupe exploit. Yeah, I remember that.
instance, a player with
was a
over
while
900
ago.
hours was apparently banned for just having too much ammunition in his inventory. But hey, they released a battle royale in the summer of the next year. Did you hear about that? Did you know about that? They had a battle
No, I
royale
did
in a
not.
Fallout
I did
game.
not know
When
that.
battle royales were the peak
Battle
of
Royale?
gaming.
Battle
Because if you
Royale?
did
Did
hear
you know
about
about
it, I'm
that?
pretty sure
Battle
the people
Royale?
that were still playing 76 did not, since especially on console, nobody played it. Lobbies were dead, and they eventually removed
don't
it
have
in September
crossplay?
of 2021.
What?
However, even with all of these issues, a small community still played the game.
Yeah,
These
all
people
the
stayed
whales.
throughout the years,
That's the sunk cost fallacy investment too.
grinding to triple-digit levels and had personal camps that looked better than the official structures within the
Yep.
game. These players were known as veterans, or as Habib called them, ghosts. People that never gave
Ghosts?
up on the game and were actually known to
That's
help
kinda
new
brutal.
players, either giving them items or escorting them through difficult areas and
Yeah,
quests.
cute.
Now, as a normal person, you would ask yourself, what is wrong with these people? Well, first of all, most of them are in their early 30s, if that explains
Aww.
anything. I know I just used that as a joke, but that is such a wholesome post. This person just
Aw.
wants somebody to play with, and so many people replied to it. Oh,
Is this a Reddit post or a Facebook post?
this person just wants somebody to play with, and so many people replied to it. It almost gives you
That is
hope for
pretty wholesome.
humanity. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
assumed from the outside you had to
Facebook
either be
post.
a lobotomite or have
You
an
would know,
extremely low standard for games to
boomer.
keep playing this. However, I do sort of understand why they kept playing, because the game was not as unplayable as people made it out to be. I would know because I kept playing it when I was a spam cell even after it was viewed as a failure. Yes, this is the personal part of the video. Did you also know I hate most of you? Admittedly, I only played for a few months after the release and only on console, and I only stopped playing
Console,
because my
baby. Console,
PlayStation
baby.
blew up whilst playing the game. I still don't know if it was because I was playing 76 or because I had to basically domestically abuse my PlayStation to boot sometimes. First of all,
He was a little squeaker that bashed his fucking his PlayStation.
I did not encounter as
little
many
rat,
bugs as
dude.
other
His mom
people
should've
were seeing,
spanked
probably due
him.
to me being on a console, or I just didn't notice them because I was naive and still had some respect for Bethesda. But even then, I still hated how PvP was the equivalent of two limbless amputees fighting, and how when you died, all you lost was your scrap, which was disappointing when you eventually killed someone. And
That
whilst
is
the
kinda
majority of
cringe,
base
yeah.
game
You gotta
quests
have high
were kind
stakes.
of boring, specifically the one where you had to wait at the DMV for your number to be called, and sometimes if you didn't realize it was bugged, you just wait there. like an idiot, but there were some quests that were really good. One of my favourite was the Order of Mysteries or Mistresses questline, where you join a previously secret organisation called the Order of Mysteries that was basically taking orphans and transforming them into Batman, and you follow the process to become one of them and then start following what happened to the members, where it's found out that the organisation was being sabotaged by the headmaster's own daughter, and in the last mission you go to where they would both have their final standoff, which I unfortunately expected to be able to actually witness the epic fight, but you just come across their dead bodies, which makes no sense because they've both been dead for like 20 years before the vault was opened, and they should be bones by now.
Yeah,
you get some cool
I don't know.
items out
and this is what happens in a big corporation. You don't realize that because you have a bunch of writers that are taking all independent little tidbits and not cross-referencing because it's such a big company. That fucking writer that wrote that was probably gone from the company.
And it was a very interesting story, even if it was mainly told through holotapes. But in general, just exploring the map that Todd heavily emphasized was 4 times bigger, but was empty in a lot of places. But coming across places like Deathclaw Island, where you quickly learn why it has that name with the radio blasting, that was one of the many things I enjoyed doing when playing the game before I got older, and started getting that guilty feeling that I should be doing something better with my time instead of playing games, even if I did just do a 12-hour shift in the mines. It wasn't a traditional Fallout game, it had way too many problems, and the gameplay at the time did get quickly boring, especially with those little events you used to come across that were way too repetitive and annoying. But it had the framework for what could be a decent game, and I think a lot of people, rightfully so, only base the game on the mess it was on the first day it was released, and that opinion would have some weight behind it for a number of years. But midway through 2020, they would start significantly updating the game to the point where in recent years the game would change in a way where it's nothing like what it was previously, and I don't think in the current year it can still be considered one of the worst games Bethesda has produced.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! Smell that air!
So the first good thing that happened after the release was Todd admitting that the game was not as good as they advertised when they launched it.
Got a lot of criticism, obviously, that looking back we deserved. It's a game that we should have had in a...
How can you hate this man, dude? Dude, Todd and his leather jackets and his sweet little lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Dude.
We can stop the clip there because unfortunately he just keeps talking, listing excuses, and starts coping. We only really needed
to... but people listen to it and they love him, dude. He's such a lovable fucking dork, bro. He's such a fucking nerd. I want to strangle him. He's lied to us so much and we still listen.
To hear that one line. But surprisingly, Bethesda, or more specifically the other studios they dropped the game on, did not give up on the game. Their first big change was finally releasing the game on Steam, a platform that a lot of people would have preferred, and on the same day they released the Wastelanders update, which finally added human NPCs and quests to the game. With a new vault and quest line that comes with different ways you can complete the quest, and it comes with an actual choice at the end which impacts the newly added factions and the newly added reputation system. My god, it almost resembles an actual Fallout.
And how long did it take for them to add that? See, this is what I mean. Like, how is this acceptable?
Game, but 76 still had a way to go. Yes, they saw a spike of players since their new update and release on Steam, but that would slowly dissipate over time and the game would get a bit boring when you reached a high enough level and you had done everything within the game.
Apparently there's a huge hacker problem too, and they're not doing much about it. I don't know if he talks about it or not, but apparently it's a pretty big one.
Which led them to eventually add dungeons and raids to the game.
Because the engine is just so shitty. Like, it's just really easy to fucking hack.
Which were difficult, repetitive content primarily for higher leveled players, and you could also get some good loot out of them. But they were actually somewhat hated because of all the bugs present within them. sometimes making it impossible to progress through them. So they would eventually just remove them altogether from the game instead of working on them, and they would only return years later in 2023 where they were a lot better. With the new Legendary Run update, they added content like the new seasonal scoreboard, which was then later renamed to Seasons, that ran for
I got PTSD and I thought he was gonna say seasonal battle pass, and I was like, oh, of course.
3 months at a time, and it was essentially like a battle pass with cosmetics and items that people could earn through doing daily missions. In the One Wastelander for All update, they once again worked on making the gameplay more enjoyable and challenging past a certain level by making it so enemies' levels scale based on the player's own levels, so you weren't just one-shotting everything in sight.
Wow,
they also made
the most basic thing ever. I don't know, man. I think that's good, but like at the same time, how is this acceptable? How did they even have like a player base to begin with, man? They just love eating shit.
Just to the perk system and added a few new enemies to the game. Was 76 good enough now?
Man.
Nah. In the next update, they added more quest lines to the game, improved the camp building system, which was one of the main reasons veterans still played the game, and they also adjusted gameplay features like the looting system. But now we were in 2022, and they still weren't done. Remember the pit from Fallout 3 where you get the choice to abduct an infant?
Yes.
The last part wasn't in.
I didn't do that. I was a little kid. I thought it was gross. I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do the cannibalism. It freaked me out. I couldn't be a bad character. I only started being a bad, like, I would do bad playthroughs, like evil ones, when I got older. It sounds so cringe now to think about it, but it's true.
But they added a new questline and expedition to revisit the pit, and it was all for free. But
That's
admittedly,
cool.
not everyone liked
That's
it.
nice.
The map was small, some said it just felt like a daily mission in terms of content. And speaking of daily missions, apparently you had to do a repetitive quest just to enter said expedition. They would a year later add another expedition to
Who designs this shit? Rats?
Atlantic City on top
Do
of
rats
more
design
content
this
updates.
shit?
Now the game was doing alright for itself around this time, but none of that would compare to April of 2024, where with the release of the first episode of the TV show, people were hungry for Fallout content, and whilst a lot of them turned to the traditional Fallout games, 76 saw the highest player count it's seen in years, and whilst not all players stayed around, some did and integrated into the regular player base. In June of the same year, they added the first expansion to the map with the Skyline Valley update, and at this point a majority of the Steam reviews for the game had turned from overwhelmingly negative to somewhat positive. And most times you could pick up the game on sale for just £6 or $8. However, even though things are going well, the community does occasionally disagree with the new updates, specifically...
Yeah, 5 years for a map expansion. That's what blows my ass apart about this. I'm like, that's awesome. However, it shouldn't take 5 fucking years.
The game going in a pay-to-win direction when they said they wouldn't, and them constantly removing content. But hey, it's Bethesda. They were bound to fuck it up eventually. Don't worry, they'll make up for it by re-releasing Skyrim, this time for the fucking microwave. They eventually added a small update where you could have pets and companions now. But their next major updates was with the Ghoul Within and Gone Fishing, making it so you could now become a ghoul and could go fishing.
Really running out of ideas on what to sell to people, bro.
In a Fallout game, never been done before. They also added a much needed revamp to the camp system, reducing the restrictions on the building capabilities, and their last update in accordance with the next season.
You know what's sad is that they didn't add that to Fallout 4. You can't fucking fish in Fallout 4. At least I don't remember you can. I don't think you can.
The TV show was Burning Springs, adding a new area, new objectives, and the ghoul who was in the TV show. And they apparently have even more updates set to come out. So is the game actually in a good state now? Well, there are still bugs, but the game is in a better place than it ever was. This is the version of the game we should have got in 2018. But since then, they have built up the game to the point where now in 2026, the people that play it think it's...
If a game takes 8 years to get good, it's not a good game, sorry. No Man's Sky turned it around within a year, I think it was. Yeah, they just buckled down and like sat down and were like, all right, we're gonna fix this game. Yeah, I think No Man's Sky took maybe a year or two, which I find is acceptable, but like 8 fucking years. And to top it off, No Man's Sky is a small company compared to fucking Bethesda. Like, what? Come on, man.
A decent Fallout game, and the player count reflects that,
Yeah,
with
8 years to come
20,000
close to
people
release
playing it
balance
through
is a good
Steam
point,
daily,
yeah.
and that's not mentioning all the other players on different platforms. But by now, Fallout 76
sure it
has
has a
somewhat
loyal fan
redeemed
base.
itself. It just took around 8 years to achieve that, and it still
Insane.
has
It's
a
way
lot
too
of bugs, but people are slowly but surely starting to notice the game is in a completely different state than what it was when it launched.
Yeah,
especially
I can
with
understand
content
that.
creators coming back to the game and witnessing how much the game has changed themselves. But the majority still think it's a bad game, and that's probably still down to the lasting effects of the launch, or
Yeah,
because
first
nobody wants to
impressions.
fuck with Bethesda. Especially after what they've done recently, like releasing Fallout New Vegas the Anniversary Edition with the same game.
And people have been begging for like a remake or a remaster.
No new features, just a few collectibles and an extortionate price tag.
Oh!
Just remaster the game at this point. If I'm
140 pounds? Dude, that's like 160 American dollars, man. That's insane. Who in their right mind buys that crap? Oh, probably collectors. That's so sad.
City made one of your best games in a fraction of the time it took you to
And
make
it was buggy as fuck, and we loved it, by the way.
4. It sounds like a relatively easy feat for Bethesda. But anyway, with how much Fallout 76 has changed, would I personally give it another chance? Fuck no. You know how much of a grind it is now? Unless I have my previous account moved to the Steam platform, which is apparently impossible, I am not.
You can't migrate from one platform to another? Small indie company. What can you say? Sorry, guys. Todd needs his 10th leather jacket.
Getting myself what is essentially a full-time job grinding just to get a decent level. Yeah, no,
That's
fuck
crazy.
you.
I need you to go get me the platinum chip. I don't really know what it does, but I just know that you need to go get it.
need to go
and
get
then
it.
hopefully we can go to Hoover.
Is that Trump? Is that
Jam together. I'll take you and get you a hot dog.
So Fallout 76 had one of the
So
worst
fucking
launches in
dumb.
Bethesda's or
That's
even
so
gaming
silly,
history.
dude.
But even with the terrible launch, the game wasn't given up on. Yes, it wasn't immediate and there
Yeah.
were some gaps, but they
Trump
kept
won't go
working
to-
on it,
well,
which
yeah.
is a decision that bore
He's a
some
chaotic,
fruit as a
evil
lot more
character. He's
people are
funny.
picking up the game now, and it's nowhere near the mess it used to be.
Can't
But
be
as said, it still
controlled.
has a terrible
I do what I want
reputation, which
type
is
shit.
slowly changing, especially recently because a lot more videos have been done on its current state, probably because the latest season of the TV show just ended.
I will say it's very funny for me to see him do such a niche video on something that he liked playing, Mr. Royalty, and he still won't go back and play the game. He's like, nah, fuck that.
I don't think Todd is forcing people to play this game,
No.
but yeah, I'd still
No, I'm sure
recommend
there's a
picking
decent
this
amount
game
of
up
people
on
play it,
sale if
yeah.
you do want to play it. But if you're replaying Vegas and you want some good loot on a prostate exam, go to Quarry Junction. And yep, that's all I had to say.
Oh, Quarry
and
Junction?
bye-bye.
Okay, I got it. That was a good video. I enjoyed that. I'm a Fallout fan, so I like to watch these little videos. I enjoy them. That was a good video.
Fire, 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 fire.